You're about to start the Weather Cycler activity. This activity sort of sums up everything that we've learned about so far this unit. This is one of our end goals of being able to understand and predict weather. The Weather Cycler can be kind of confusing at first because there's a lot of information, and I wanted to just go through and point out how to read it and how to make it a little bit more simple for you. First of all, in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a key that has a breakdown of what everything means. I want to point out cloud cover, pretty straightforward. If the circle is not shaded in, like this, there is no clouds. 50% clouds, 100% clouds, 75% clouds, 25% clouds. Very straightforward. The next part is wind direction. This would be that big line that comes off of the circle. If I look at these examples, this wind is coming from the west, so we call that a west wind. This is a south wind, a north wind. This is a southeast wind. And something to note is that this is the direction the wind comes from, not the direction the wind is going. That can be a little confusing for some people. Last thing I want to point out are the knots, the wind speed that's coming off of each of these tails. They're called feathers. 1/2 feather, as it says in the key, is worth 5 knots, and a full feather is worth 10. So looking at this example, 10 plus 5, this one is worth 15 knots. 10 plus 10, 20 knots. 10, 20, 35 knots. And 10 knots. Once you get the hang of it, it's really straightforward to read. The other thing to note is this weather broken down for station A. This shows you the type of clouds you're going to be experiencing, the pressure and how it's changing. The red line is temperature, and then this is a side view of the atmosphere. I want you to sort of think of the weather cycler as two separate things. There is, below points A and B, a fixed point. This is, let's just call them Minneapolis and St. Paul. Those points are not changing. The city location is not changing. The thing that does change is the weather. This map that you pull out and slide out represents the weather, and every time you pull it out one station, it represents 12 hours. So it's, again, weather coming at you, changing over time. Think of the weather cycler as a fixed location, the location under A and B is fixed, and then the weather coming at you. Weather comes from the west. As you notice and you slide out the weather cycler, it continues to come, if you think of this fixed location, from the west. And as you slide it out, you're actually reading the pressure and temperature backwards because they're moving in a backwards direction when you pull them out. We usually read from left to right. This can catch some students up. Well, so let's look at 1A. Let's talk about the weather position happening right here. 25% cloud cover, winds out of the southeast at 10 knots. How is the pressure? Well, if I look at the black line, it's towards the high end, and the temperature, which is the red line, is sort of right in the middle. Clouds here at position A are high and thin. Side view of the atmosphere, there's just a little layer of clouds, and I'm mostly in a high pressure system. That's what that blue represents. Moving to position 2, the black line starts to drop a little bit. Temperature stays pretty consistent. Clouds start to thicken up. Now I'm at 100% cloud cover, winds out of the same direction. Position 3, pressure is now starting to significantly drop. Storm is coming in. Side view of atmosphere, I'm starting to get more precipitation. And as I continue to move the map outward and the weather comes at position A, which again is just Minneapolis, we'll call it, every 12 hours, each station shows the change in weather. Another chart that you'll need to be able to complete this activity is the cloud chart. The cloud chart is just kind of a general resource for you when you're identifying the names of the clouds. We are not super concerned that you know all the names of the clouds. Just read the descriptor for some idea to identify sort of what might be going on in that station at that point. Weather cycler, again, it's an important one Focus your energy on it. Ask questions if you're stuck, and good luck.